Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome. Today we're going to talk about Imbolc, which is a festival in, a pagan year of like holidays and festivals. Um, it's, it's celebrated on February 1st, um, ruled over by the goddess Brigid, or some people call her Breet in Ireland. I'm hoping you can hear me okay because I'm sitting back from um, the laptop so you guys can see. So we're going to talk a little bit about Imbolc, what I do. I'm only going to touch on the subject because everybody practices different, but I'm just going to touch on it, and please do your own research, look it up. You have a beautiful machine at the end of your fingertips that you can Google anything and do your own research and celebrate the festival as you see fit or that meshes with your own beliefs. So I'm just going to cover a little bit. I wrote some notes. Um, so in bulk, however you want to say it, um, ruled over by the goddess Brigid is what I call her. In Ireland, I believe they pronounce it Breet, or her name means the exalted one. She was an Irish goddess of the spring, and her attributes were fertility and life. She was the master of both healing and smithing, and also poetry. Um, the holiday in bulk is held on February 1st and is the marking of the midpoint of winter. Um, she was a goddess of pre-Christian Ireland and Scotland, and I'm going to butcher this, member of the Toa Chawa Dewan, I think that's how you pronounce it, the daughter of Dagda. Dagda. 9th century monks wrote that Brigid was the goddess whom poets adored. Now, the one thing about the goddess Brigid is she was kind of adopted in Christianity and became Saint Brigid. Saint Brigid shares many of the attributes that the goddess had, and also her feast day being February 1st. Was originally a pagan festival called Imbolc, marking midwinter and the beginning of spring. St. Bridget's Day, or St. Bridget of Kildare, as she's called, um, is associated with sacred flames and sacred wells. Both the goddess and saint are also associated with the holy wells at Kildare and other Celtic sites. Um, many, I mean, many people in the Wheel of the Year, which this is like a lower, not a lower, but like a in between major festival or ceremony that I do. Um, Many people celebrate all over the world. I don't know if they realize what they're celebrating or whatever, but like Candlemas is like St. Bridget's Day. They call it Candlemas, and they have a feast, and they light the sacred flame, the keeper of the sacred flame, the keeper of the sacred wells, the holy wells, and that's Saint Brigid. And then Goddess Brigid is also the same, she's very protective. Some ways that me and my family celebrate is the day before, which will be tomorrow. It's the 30th of January today. We'll go out and gather wheat straw, grass, reeds, rushes of the same length. I usually make oat bread, and I make a big giant pot, like in the crock pot of stew. And this year we're doing like a pork, mushroom, potato, carrot, onion stew. And I make enough that we'll have leftovers. I'll make it tomorrow, and we'll eat. And then we're going to make our Brigid's crosses, lay them out on the porch to be blessed. And then on February 1st, on Imbolc, I'll bring them in and I will lay them on the table, light a candle in honor of the goddess, and thank her for blessing my Brigid's crosses. And then I will hang like one over the doorway. I usually have two small ones that have been hanging there for years over my kitchen sink. And I usually hang them over the doorway. And we'll get more into that. It's usually, I'm reading my notes, they're usually woven from straws or rushes. Rushes are gathered on January 31st and woven after dinner. While you're weaving them, you kind of want to like manifest what you want to see during the year, about keeping your family safe and protected, thanking the goddess for her blessings as you're weaving them, or the saint, depending on what you believe. Hanging the cross in your house or on your rafters, in your attic, in your basement, in your windows, over the door, over a children's bed, is believed to bring blessings and protection throughout the remainder of the year. So another thing that's kind of similar, to it, because on Candlemas or Imbolc, the saying is, if Imbolc is bright and clear, there'll be two winners in the year. So kind of like Groundhog's Day, that is on February 2nd, because if it's bright and clear and he sees his shadow, 6 more weeks of winter. If it's dull and gray and he doesn't see his shadow, spring will start. So it's just kind of interesting to me how like things are all interwoven, and if you look through history. But I really want to encourage you to look up the goddess Brigid, and it's Brigid is where you'll find a lot of the information. Read up on her, and also Saint Brigid, and look up Candlemas, and because it was originally Imbolc is originally a pagan holiday, kind of pulled over to Christianity and turned into Candlemas or Saint Brigid's Day, depending on what religion you are and what you call it. So with that being said, I'm going to show you how to make a Brigid's cross. And I'm not going to use rushes, although I have them. I'll read you a little bit about it. You'll need 3 dozen of rushes or wheat grass or whatever. You're going to want to soak your materials in hot water because you want them to be flexible so that when you bend them, they don't break. And you're going to be weaving them in a clock-like fashion, which for all intents and purposes, I'm going to use pipe cleaners to show you how to do them. So that way you can see, and these are stiff. They're similar like how a reed would be. And that way I don't have to use up my supplies for the ones I'm going to make for my ceremony. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to make a Brigid's cross. So they recommend 28 minimum I don't know how many I have here. So I'm going to bring you down so you can see, and I hope you can hear me. So you're going to lay your, okay, whatever your first read, that determines the size of your cross, the first straight piece. So if you want it shorter, you would cut it shorter, depending on how long it is. And you're going to need the reeds, at least 28, and you're going to need string to tie them at the end. So you're going to start out with 1, and if this is 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock is here, 3 o'clock's over here, 9 o'clock's over there, like a clock. So I'm going to use a different color. Your second one, you're going to fold in half. And what I always do is I mark my middle of my first one. So you're going to lay it down, and you're going to take this one and slide it over in the center. Oh, and you having a clothespin is very helpful because you can pin this when you're working with real reeds. So you're going to, that's going to point to 3 o'clock. So now you're going to take your next reed, fold it in half, and you're going to slide this one over the 3 o'clock reed and point it down to 6 o'clock. Okay? And you're going to keep working around. So you're going to fold the next one. Slip it over the bottom two. And you want to keep it tight up here. So now this one's facing 9 o'clock. Okay? I'm trying to do them each different colors. Next reed, fold in half. Slip it over the 9 o'clock pointing one. Slide it over. Now that one's going to point to 12 o'clock. Now you're going to tighten these. And see the pattern that it's making in the center? So you're going to continue on. So we were at 12 o'clock. So fold. Slide over the 3 o'clock reed, if it was a reed. I know it's a pipe cleaner. Facing. Oh, I did that wrong. I'm sorry. Wrong. Fold it over. Slide it over the 12 o'clock. Towards the 3 o'clock. So you can see where a clothespin would come handy. So that one's facing 3 o'clock. Now you're going to fold another one. Weave it over the 3 o'clock. Push it tight. I hope you're able to see this. And we're going to keep doing this. So I'm going to be quiet. So we just did the 3 o'clock, so we're going to fold over the 6. Like, we did the 6 o'clock folding down, but you know what I mean. Alright, so we're going to go fold over, and we're pointing to 9 o'clock. fold over, and we're pointing to 12 o'clock. Fold over, and we're pointing to 3 o'clock. I don't even know how many I've done. Fold over, and we're pointing to 6 o'clock. Sliding it over the 3 o'clock, pointing to 6 o'clock. Fold over, sliding over 6 o'clock, pointing to 9 o'clock. Fold over, sliding over 9 o'clock, pointing to 12 o'clock. See the pattern it's making? I'm going to do a couple more. Fold over, sliding over 12 o'clock, pointing to 3 o'clock. When I say pointing, I mean the open ends. So slide it down. Like if these were reeds, that's what you'd be doing. You'd be tightening them, sliding them down. That one didn't go over all of them. So that's what you would be doing. Tightening them and then clipping them. So we got one. We're going over 3 o'clock, pointing to 6 o'clock. Going over or under 6 o'clock. Folding over towards 9 o'clock. And we're going to do a couple more. You can do it the way you want. I don't know whatever way is easier for you guys to do it. Of course, you're going to want to be using reeds. And I mean, they do sell other things. You can make them. We like to use reeds because that's the traditional way. So I folded it over, sliding over the 12 o'clock, pointing to 3 o'clock. All right, so you make this as big as you want. So I'm going to hold this back. Oh, let me bring you up. All right, so this is what we get. Now, this is holding together nice because it's, you know, pipe cleaners. But you're going to want a clip in the center when it's reeds, because if not, they go all over. All right, so you want to have string. I don't know where my scissors are. There they are. So what you're going to do at the end is at the 12 o'clock one, you're going to, okay, can you see? You're going to gather, if these were reeds, you're going to gather them together. You're going to put your string around, tie a knot. Now the 12 o'clock one I always leave because I'll tie this again so I can hang it. All right. So I know this doesn't look like the traditional Brigade's cross, but you'll get the drift. And of course, I like mine really thick, so I would be continuing around and around. This is fun to do with kids, and you know, like in our family, you know, the kids hang them over their bed, like, for protection. And hey, why not? So I'm tying the ends. Now, when you're working with the reeds, like I soak mine in hot water until they're flexible enough to bend without snapping. And then what I do is I lay them on a wet washcloth. On a wet washcloth, and then to keep them damp, but not like sopping wet. Because if they're sopping wet, they're hard to weave. But you do want them damp. So this would be, now, of course, this, if it's reeds, these are going to be puffed out, and of course there would be more of them. So this is what you're looking at for the center, and your reeds will make this nice pattern. And then I always leave one string longer, tie it together so you can hang it. And that's the simple way to make a Brigid's cross. So I hope you understood all that. So let me get rid of some of this stuff here. Especially these little strings, or my cat will be choking to death. She's already chased this around the room. Alright, so now that was just with pipe cleaners. So like I said, you're going to use reeds or straw, or what, you know, what you can use that real heavy, thick twine. I think Dollar Tree has it. It's like thicker and it'll stay stiffer. There again, though, you're going to want to soak that. Because if you soak it and then choose your, like if you only want your cross, you know, you can trim this. So if you only wanted it this tall, that would be the first reed height that you would do. But if you're using that real thick twine from like Dollar Tree and you soak it, I would pre-cut it and pre-fold it. So your first one being the length you want the cross. The second string, they all need to be the same exact length, because then when you fold it over, you know, the arm will be, it'll come out to be, everything will be the same length. So I would pre-fold it if I was using twine. I have used twine and I've used yarn. My great-grandmother liked them made out of yarn. And she kind of sprayed them with a little hairspray. And that's back in the day of Aquanet, which we don't have that anymore because of the aerosol. But she would spray it a little bit. But she just liked to make certain colors, you know, to match her motif in her house and stuff like that. So that's a Brigid's cross. I hope that was informative. I do want to recommend a book. Let me put this up. It's Ancient Traditions to Illuminate Your Life Throughout the Seasons, Kindling the Celtic Spirit by Mara Freeman. And you can get that on Amazon. And she has everything is by the season. So like that. The Festival of Brigid in February. It goes through the Irish, Scottish, Manx, Welsh, any Celtic little stories, like they, you know, and she has that. And she does have it in here. She mentions Groundhog Day. Also another tradition about the little dolls that can be made. I don't know if she explains in here. I haven't read that part. What it means in each country. Also, there's the making the Brigid's cross. and the symbolism, and it just goes on and on. It tells you the whole thing, and it's broken down in by months, and it goes through Celtic spirituality and origins. It's a great book. I can't recommend it enough, and you can get it on Amazon. So that's my little magical input on candle mass and bulk. I call it Imbolc, St. Bridget's Day, whatever you call it. Um, Usually on February 1st. I mean, I know that a lot of people, they have like fire festivals and big feast festivals. I don't do that. I have a small dinner with my family. For me, it's a journaling day. For me, it's in my book of shadows, writing down what I did, what we ate, what color candles I used, what I was inclined or intuitively drawn to do. I like to also, write down recipes like of the things I use, journal, my thoughts, my plans for the year, because now it's all about planning. Like I'm gathering your seeds, getting them ready, because in March, it's go time, like I start planting indoors, even though my last frost sometimes won't be till May. I start my seeds indoors. I get my stuff ready for my food, my herbal garden. I start cleaning out dressers and going through everything and just getting ready for the year to come. So that's it. That's my what I do. And I hope you enjoyed this. And if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.